I'm in. No one can defeat me. I didn't even get to put my foot down. Holy wow. Hello, my name is Alanis King, and this right here is a 2022 Rivian R1T Adventure Edition. This truck has 835 horsepower, 908 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive, and a whole lot more. I've never driven the R1T because this is still a pretty new truck, and I cannot wait to see what all the hype is about, and I'm gonna take you with me. But first, I should tell you, this R1T is now available on Cars and Bids. You can check out more photos, see the full spec list, or maybe even bid on it at the link in the description of this video. Before we get to this truck, let's talk about how the R1T came to be. The R1T is an all-electric pickup from automaker Rivian, which was founded in 2009. That may come as a bit of a surprise, because that was 15 years ago, but Rivian's fairly new to the consumer market. Rivian flew under their radar for quite a while, and in 2011 they had this cute little sports coupe prototype, but it got shelved and not much else was going on in terms of the consumer side of the business. Rivian really stepped into the mainstream in November 2018 when the company unveiled its first consumer vehicle, the R1T, at the LA Auto Show. The Rivian R1S, which was an SUV, debuted with it. Both of these cars were boxy, timeless, and very different from other cars on the road. They have these horizontal light bars on the front and the rear, two oblong oval headlights, and they're just so distinctly Rivian. Even if you didn't know what Rivian was before the LA Auto Show, you could easily pick both of these cars out from the crowd as soon as they debuted. The late 2010s and early 2020s were a very tricky time for previously unknown EV manufacturers. If you want just a few examples, Lordstown Motors came under investigation by the Department of Justice over allegations of misleading claims about pre-orders. Nikola founder Trevor Milton got convicted of fraud, and Faraday Future is, I don't know, a whole thing that you should definitely Google if you're not familiar with it. There was a time when new EV startups were abundant and promising. Then many of them fell away and left Tesla, which everybody already knew about, and Rivian, which was the new kid. And in spite of all of Rivian's competitors' struggles, Rivian's doing pretty well. Rivian started delivering the R1T before the R1S, and the first customer car rolled off the line in September 2021. The colors offered on the truck are earthy, but in a cool way. They're all muted versions of green, blue, yellow, red, white, and other colors, but unfortunately, Rivian discontinued the yellow in 2023, which is so sad because it was so cool. Even the color names are earthy chic. This truck is finished in forest green, which is a $1,500 option, and the white interior is called Ocean Coast. It's all very hopeful of a better, cooler, more efficient future, and when you're a brand new name on the market, you have the power to do that. Rivian isn't old, so Rivian doesn't come with baggage like other brands do. So when we look at these cool trucks and these cool colors and they're all electric, we have this hope and this facade of a better future, and that's something a lot of people cling to. Early reviews of the R1T were great. Motor Trend called it the most remarkable pickup they'd ever driven, and my boss, Doug DeMuro, called it the coolest pickup truck ever made. It was an incredible debut, and it really set Rivian up for the future. Rivian rolled right out of that incredible debut and into its initial public offering in November 2021. It was the biggest American IPO since Facebook, and stock prices soared to $130 a share, giving Rivian a valuation of more than $100 billion. Rivian's now trading for $20 a share, which is a big drop, but in purely anecdotal evidence, I have heard nothing but good things from people I know who own this truck. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited to drive it. Johnny Lieberman from Motor Trend bought a yellow one for himself, and he wrote a 6-month update and said he was super impressed. I've also noticed that being a Rivian owner is kind of a personality trait. There are some vehicles or brands you buy because it's just who you are, like a Jeep Wrangler or a Mazda Speed Miata with a very loud blow-off valve. That's me. Rivian owners have a similar culture, which is pretty impressive for such a young brand. If you bought a Rivian, you took a risk on a relatively unknown EV manufacturer, instead of going for a more mainstream EV or pickup or EV pickup. You went with this for the cool factor and for the usability, and that creates a camaraderie. That brings us to this car, the 2022 Rivian R1T Adventure Edition. In case your eyes didn't pop out of your head and land on the desk earlier when I told you its stats, let me repeat. This truck has 835 horsepower, 908 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive, and so much more. It also has 314 miles of range, which is impressive for such a powerful vehicle, because with modern electric cars, often more power means less range. Electric vehicles are different from gas-powered cars in a lot of ways, one of which being that instead of having one central gas-powered engine, sometimes they have multiple electric motors. This particular R1T is a quad motor truck, which means it has 4 electric motors. Those 4 motors power all 4 wheels, and they're able to independently adjust torque at each one. Adjusting torque at each wheel is very common in higher-end cars, and what it basically means is that if you need more torque to certain wheels to give you more traction in certain places, it can do that. One of the things you don't notice until you are face-to-face with the R1T is all of the cool branding on it. The truck has little Rivian logos everywhere, and this particular one, each of those logos has a little yellow shadow on it, and it's just this really tasteful pop of color. Ooh! I'm not gonna be able to squeeze in here. No way. There's no way. I saw a skinny guy do it on YouTube. That is not me. I actually might be able to do it. Oh, I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. I'm in. No one can defeat me. I got in the cargo tunnel. One of the really beloved features of the R1T is all of its gadgets, including this cargo tunnel in the middle of the truck. There is an optional kitchen feature that you can get to nuzzle into this cargo tunnel, or if you're just feeling like me, you can try to wiggle yourself through it. There's an onboard air compressor right here that you can use to air up your tires. There's also a flashlight with its own little pocket in the door. You've seen Rolls-Royce umbrellas, haven't you? Rivian flashlights. And underneath the center console, there is a Bluetooth speaker. This speaker not only charges when it's in its spot, but it also lights up this warm glow orange in case you need a makeshift campfire light. Oh my goodness, it made noise. Woo! Oh, there's the light! Look at the light! That's crazy. Wow, look at that. This particular spec has 20-inch dark all-terrain wheels and tires, which are a $3,500 option, and a power tonneau cover, which is $1,500. The owner of this truck told me that they've known some owners of Rivians who have had issues with the tonneau cover, the power one, but theirs is still going. So I figured it would be fun to close it. Okay, the button is right here. It's covered. Look at that. There's also the front trunk, which I would try to get into because I could fit. It is very deep. It is a good storage space. But I've already done a lot of bizarre things in the same parking lot, and multiple people have stopped to stare at me. And I feel like if I climb in another cargo area of this vehicle, there is going to be a police car that stops by to ask me if I'm kidnapping myself. So definitely 1.5 Alanises could get in here, but they're not going to for their own well-being. Welcome inside the Rivian R1T. And when I picked up the truck this morning, the seller told me basically the inside of this truck is like, all the commands are pretty Tesla. So your park, neutral, reverse, drive, everything is on this toggle right here, just like you would find in a Tesla. And you have a bunch of operations in the screen, just like you would find in a Tesla. So I can open the hood from right here, boop, close hood, it's going back down. I can open the cargo tunnel right here. Boom. Boom. It's open only, so you can't close it this way, but it will open. You can do a lot of stuff right here. You can close the tonneau, you can do the tailgate, you can do a lot of stuff on this screen, and it's like haptic touch. So when I touch it to open the hood, it makes a noise and it makes a feeling. And then the hood pops and I see that I did it right. I can open the charge port. I can do a lot of stuff in this screen, pretty much like you would in a Tesla. But I personally think that's where a lot of the similarities end, because this interior, there's actually stuff going on. In a Tesla, there's nothing. It is ultra minimalist, which is a style and is nice. I enjoy my time in Teslas. I think they're very peaceful. This has more to it. It has the wood grain on, oh my goodness. Oh, I just felt the wood grain and, oh, it feels like feeling a tree. Wow. Usually when you have wood grain in a car, it's just smooth and it looks like wood grain. This feels like petting a tree. Anyway, you have the wood grain on the dashboard, which is very, very, very nice. You have Rivian carved into that wood grain. You have little brushed silver pieces everywhere. Oh, there's a little brushed silver piece that says adventurous forever. I'm not adventurous. I go to Chili's every single Friday, but maybe you are, and maybe this truck is for you. The steering wheel is not simple. It's not basic. It has this really cool style to it. The outside of the steering wheel is dark gray. The middle is light gray. There's a Rivian logo in the center that's silver, and it has that yellow shadow on it. There's wood grain on each side where the dials are. And then there's light gray stitching, contrast stitching, and brushed silver as well on here. The seats are also not simple. They have this really nice little pattern on it with a bunch of little oval headlight shaped pieces, shaped just like the headlights up front. You have a Rivian logo on the backrest of the seat. You have little yellow accents, brushed silver accents. You have the light gray, the dark gray. It's not simple in here. It's complicated, but tastefully complicated. And I think that's actually a really nice upgrade over what Tesla has. I love the interior of a Tesla. I love that it is simple. But I like that this is distinct. There's a lot going on here. You pick this because you like it, and that's special. You can get inside the Rivian R1T with a key on your phone. But if you're a physical key person, the key is another example of like the tastefully cute things that Rivian does with its vehicles. So this is a car key, right? It has a little space where you can clip it onto things. But it's like one of those little camping keychains. I can hook it on my backpack if I want, just like I would hook a little water canteen if I was going camping. It is so tasteful and useful. How cool is that? This white interior with the wood grain just carries over those earth tones and the earthy vibes that you get from the outside of the car. And it just, again, gives you that feeling of the future and sustainability and being cool while being sustainable. It really works in here. One thing that I think is difficult about the sustainability approach is, in this car, we call this vegan leather. Rivian calls this vegan leather. Maybe it's a regulated term, but I can't find anything that's regulated about it. You have listings for jackets that are faux leather. You know, the jackets you buy, they're faux leather. 5 years, they start falling apart. This is obviously better than that, right? But I sometimes go to buy products online and it says it's vegan leather. And I'm like, is that just faux leather? Is it going to fall apart in 5 years? I don't think this interior is going to fall apart. This is one of the high-end vegan leather options. It'll be fine. But just my little complaint about the world at large. You can control a lot of things about the R1T in the screen. I can bring up my navigation on the screen. I can control my drive modes, my regenerative braking, my stability, all of these things. My ride feel is currently set to soft. I'm going to change it later and see what it feels like. But you can change all of these things in here. Currently, this car has regenerative braking on high, which means when I take my foot off of the accelerator pedal, the car starts to slow down. That's what regenerative braking is. It takes the speed that you are currently going, brakes, and takes that kinetic energy and uses it to charge the battery. So when you have regen on high, the car slows down much, much faster. When you lower it, it slows down slower. It's not as harsh, right? This car also has creep turned off. Creep, if you're familiar with gas-powered cars, is when you put the car in drive and it slowly creeps forward, or you put the car in reverse and it slowly creeps backward. Electric cars don't need creep, and so you can turn it off if you would like. This car does not have creep on, and it always, the first time I get in a new electric vehicle that I haven't driven before and creep is off, it's always a little jarring because you put it in drive, it's not making any noise, and you're like, okay, I guess I just pressed the accelerator, and then you press the accelerator and it goes, and goes back, and you're like, oh, hope I did that right. You did do it right. It's just a different feeling that you have to get used to with every single car. It's backseat time. And wow, this glass roof, incredible. I am looking up at a tinted version of the sky, and it feels like the roof goes on forever. I feel like I have so much space back here. I'm 5'8.5". I have a decent amount of legroom right here, and I'm looking at the back of a really beautiful seat. The back of the seat even has wood grain on it. How incredible. And I have heated rear seats, much like my 2012 Hyundai Elantra, which is right over there. In addition to my heated back seats, I have the same complicated seat patterns with the Rivian logos and everything back here. I also have this little shelf for items, and I can put my phone right here and it doesn't slide. It's wonderful. I have my pull down center area here where I can put my drinks. Can't put two big drinks in here, but you do have a little storage compartment. And ooh, can I look in the back of the truck? Oh, I can reach into the tunnel. So if I happen to be trying to slide through the tunnel, I could reach through here. Incredible. Wow, what a back seat. That would keep me entertained for at least 30 minutes of a road trip. Wow. That's about it back here. When you're in the back seat, there's not a lot going on. I've got my own climate controls right here. I have my own little screen. I have my USB-C chargers. Comfortable enough. I also have this recycled microfiber headliner, which is kind of like suede. It's kind of like suede, but less, I don't know how to say it, deep than suede. It's more flat surfaced than suede, but it's really honestly pretty nice, and I can just drag my finger across it. Let's drive the Rivian R1T for the first time. I'm so excited. Okay, no creep, so I'm gonna creep myself. The first thing you notice when you start driving this vehicle is how big it is. I don't drive a lot of pickups, right? I usually am reviewing smaller cars. I'm just not driving a lot of pickups. I drive some SUVs, you know, but I always forget how pickups are just, the front end is so big and you don't really expect it to be. And when the pickup doesn't make any noise and the front end is so big, it is such a bizarre feeling. Oh my goodness, that regen is strong. They're not kidding with this regen. So I have the regen on the highest setting here, which means that this is one pedal driving. So when I take my foot off of the accelerator, you see me slow down like that? Yeah, because when you take your foot off of the accelerator, the regen is so strong that you're just immediately stopping. But the regen on this car is not jerky, which I think is a really good thing, because sometimes you'll have a car with really strong regen and it'll just go. This is strong, but very, very smooth in how strong it is. So it's a very livable one pedal driving car, and I love that because I really enjoy one pedal driving. I also enjoy three pedal driving, but I enjoy one pedal driving, and it's not nearly as fun if the experience is jerky. So I'm thrilled that this is a smooth one pedal driving experience. This car is also just eerie in how quiet it is. I mean, EVs are eerie in how quiet they are in general, but I think so I'm getting used to one pedal driving. I think the reason this car is so eerily quiet is because you expect a truck to make noise and be big and do things. And this truck does a lot of things. It just does them very, very quietly, which is super interesting. The turning radius on this truck is actually pretty good. This is a very large vehicle, and I did not feel like that was a terrible turning radius at all. It was pretty good. I'm going 60 miles an hour right now, and the only noise I have is a little bit of wind noise. And obviously, if I had a gas-powered car, where the engine and the exhaust made noise, it would cover up that wind noise. So I really wouldn't even be able to hear it. But because I'm in an electric car and it is completely silent, I can hear that little bit of wind noise. But if you turn on the radio, you're not going to hear it at all. There is almost no road noise. The road feels fantastic. The road feels so smooth. It's impressive. And I'm so high up. I feel not only am I high up within the vehicle, the seat is high up within the vehicle, but the vehicle is also high up. So you are just looking down at everything. And a lot of people really, really like that feature of cars. They want to be able to look down. They want to feel safe, and they want to feel all aware and just all knowing in a car, and this gives you that. So there is some play in the steering wheel of the Rivian R1T. It's a luxury vehicle. It is not supposed to just twitch as soon as you move your hands, right? But the play in the steering wheel is not that there's a dead zone for a little while and then it starts steering. It is this very smooth transition into the steering. So the wheels start turning just slightly when I start turning my hands, and it just progressively gets more intense as I commit to the turn. Very, very good balance on the steering. It's very smooth. This is what this truck is supposed to do. And now I'm gonna turn around and go the other way. I didn't even get to put my foot down. Holy wow. I put my foot like halfway down and the breath went out of me. I'm not exaggerating. The breath just got sucked down into my body, but it didn't help me that the breath got sucked out into my body. It just very much, there was an absence of air in my airway when I put the accelerator halfway down. All right. Okay, I gotta slow down and do that again. I accelerated from 50 and it was still fast. Wow. That's all I got. That's all I got. Sure, most of the people watching this video have driven an electric vehicle before, so you understand the acceleration of an electric vehicle. Electric vehicles have instant torque, which means as soon as you put your foot down, the car is gone. In a gas-powered car, normal gas-powered car, you build power as your revs go up with your engine, as you go through the gears. With an electric vehicle, all of that torque is available immediately at zero. Like it's there. And so when you put your foot on the accelerator, there's no buildup. It's all built up. It's gone, ready to go. It's incredible. Wow. I would say the only real downside to driving this vehicle and to the technology in this vehicle is the backup camera. The picture on the backup camera is not great, and it's very, very surprising that Rivian didn't just like put a better backup camera in here, because every other part of the car is so high tech and so polished and so perfect and so crisp. It's odd that the backup camera does not have that same crispness and that same polish to it as the rest of the vehicle, but that's a minor thing, honestly. This is a fun car to drive. This is a very, very impressive vehicle. I get why everyone got this truck for the first time and said this is the coolest pickup truck ever made. This thing rocks. I get it. I get the hype. What a truck. So that was the 2022 Rivian R1T Adventure Edition. This is a super truck, and it really is a look into the future of vehicles. I get why all the owners I know are completely obsessed with it. And if you want to be one of those owners, this R1T right here, this guy, is now available on Cars and Bids. You can check out more photos, see the full spec list, or maybe even bid on it at the link in the description of this video. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.